Hey, what's going on, pretty babies? Lee Sanders here, 411 Mania reporter and columnist. You're checking out a new RCWR show for Wednesday night of January 26, 2022. We're bleeding into Thursday morning, though, so a very good morning for those of you that's happening to be tuning in live right about now. I was supposed to be with you guys a couple of hours ago for our live audience. Folks that's going to be checking this out for on demand and on the downloads, y'all are just going to be getting this at your usual time, so this really doesn't affect you whatsoever. But to the live audience, so I was in an interesting position because I was supposed to be live at 10 p.m. as soon as Dynamite was off the air. And next thing I know, I decided it was weird because I had got done with a Wow Women of Wrestling recap. There's actually an episode that's available right now on the YouTube channel. I'm not going to be having an audio version of that same episode be available until this weekend. But I decided after I was done with the WoW stream to catch up on a little bit of rest. So I actually had fed my dogs. And by the time I got done feeding my dogs, I looked at the clock and it was 7:35. So I said, oh, okay, well, AEW is going to be coming on in less than a half hour. Let me go ahead and take a quick power nap. I wasn't feeling that good anyway, so I decided to take a quick power nap. And the next thing I know, it was 10:30. I thought I had set an alarm and everything, yo. So that was just my bad, y'all, my bad. So it happens. Once in a blue moon, this happens. But I'm the type of person I would rather we still go on ahead and give you guys a show than to just be quiet and not do anything at all. That's kind of a big no-no. That's bad. You don't want to do that. That's bad. So, yeah, I do feel better, though. It was kind of weird because earlier I was having a weird headache, whole lot of shit that was going on there. So, but we're going to keep this show nice and easy tonight. We're pretty much going to be in and out. We'll go over Dynamite. I'll definitely offer you guys my Royal Rumble picks for this weekend. Also, we can reveal finally a few of the categories that's available for the Lee Sanders Presents Wrestling Awards. Yes, we finally got our categories and all that up. You guys will have details on how you'll be able to cast your vote, all that good jazz. So we got us a nice little show that's lined up for you guys here tonight. Hump Day, pretty much here. Weekend right around the corner. Hope you guys been doing all right. Hope you guys been doing pretty solid. Cold weather we've been dealing with this week, man. I mean, it is frigid temperatures depending on where you live in, but over here on the East Coast, man, definitely been dealing with a lot of frigid temperatures. It's freaking bad. It's bad. So I see, look, overall general blanket thoughts on this week's AEW Dynamite. I thought it had a little bit of something for everybody on this episode. Of course, I know for the hardcore wrestling fans that know just about any and everything that's happening in various promotions and they have their underground cult favorites and everything, I know a lot of you guys are pretty ecstatic over the fact that Danhausen is now all elite. Danhausen is now part of AEW. And it's funny because I remember when it came to the Jericho cruise, when me and wifey had went, we saw that Danhausen was on the photo op joint and he was under Wrestling Legends. And I just went, Danhausen? And she goes, who is that? I said, oh, and I told her, and she was like, really? I said, yeah, it's like, it's kind of funny that he's under Wrestling Legend, but okay, it is what it is. And I remember at that time that it came to the photo op, basically you either went with, it depended on the information that was given on your key card. There was information that was given on your key card. So basically you were told which meet and greets, as far as your times, you were able to do And then as far as which legend photo ops, superstar photo ops that you were able to do, the names was on your key card. It was really badass how they had it set up. And so we both had saw on ours respectfully that we could either choose between Jazz, the Phenom Jazz, or we could choose Danhausen. And for me, it was just a freaking no-brainer. For me, it was a no-brainer. It was like, I got to go with Jazz. Like, come on, man. I got to go with Jazz. And I asked wifey, I said, who you going with? Are you going with Danhausen or are you going with Jazz? And she was like, no, I'm going with Jazz too. I remember a little bit of Jazz when I was coming up, checking out wrestling. No, I'm gonna do Jazz as well. But man, Danhausen, he had a nice line. That's my whole point of telling you guys this story. He had a nice line, if not a little bit, just a tiny bit more than Jazz, maybe. Just a tiny bit more. You could almost make an argument. No, I would say it's actually a tie. But he definitely had his fans that were in attendance, man. And it was funny because he had a white hat on. I remember that. He had a white, it was almost, I think it was a sailor's hat on. I think he was wearing a white outfit as well, if I'm not mistaken. It was pretty funny. He had the whole makeup on, had the shades on, just freaking hilarious. I loved it. I ate that shit up. I ate that shit up when I saw him. It was pretty badass. So look, I'm happy that fans that have been longtime supporters of Danhausen are now going to be able to see him in AEW on a regular basis. If really legit, I'm happy for them. If you're asking me personally straight up though, I checked out Danhausen stuff off and on and the past couple of years, and it's just something that really does not appeal to me, which is kind of weird because I'm normally into that quirky, oddball kind of, I'm usually into that type of stuff, and he reminds me a lot of Svengoolie. I don't know how many of you guys even know about Svengoolie, but Svengoolie, who is a big wrestling fan, and he is the go-to guy when it comes to wanting to learn about all things the Three Stooges. I mean, he is a walking encyclopedia when it comes to all things Three Stooges. He has this nice slapstick comedy routine that he does. Richard Kaz is his real name, the guy behind the Svengoolie character. And he introduces movies. He's been introducing movies on television for years, pretty much based out in the Chicago, Illinois area. And, in between, he does this weird little slapstick, very dry comedy, a lot of elements that he borrows from when he's doing his whole routine. You could tell he's greatly influenced not only by the Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, Amos and Andy, just to name a few. But those of you that are Danhausen fans, when you research your stuff on Svengoolie, you kind of see the parallels that I'm talking about. And so you'll get the distinction of, okay, I see what he's talking about when he says that Danhausen reminds him a lot of Svengoolie and everything. But only certain elements remind me of him, but it's just something I can't get behind. And I just remember when I was on the cruise and I was just trying to understand from some of the fans, not in a, well, why do you like him? Not in that type of way, but just acting, Danhausen, what can you tell me about him? Just kind of going in like that under the radar, chat me up a little bit. It was interesting getting the different responses from people as far as why they liked him, what he's about and everything, but I can't get behind it. I can't. Great pickup for you guys that are fans of him, but for me, and look, I'm not saying, I'll never like the guy. I'm sure they'll be able to come up with some very interesting comedic spots for him and everything. So don't take what I'm saying as me crapping on him being signed, because I'm not crapping on the guy being signed whatsoever. I do have beef with Danhausen, though. I do have beef, and it comes from this standpoint. And shout out to my boy Dick Van Klondike on Twitter. Dick Van Klondike is one of the nicest, sweetest people that you'll ever come across on social media. Guy don't mean no harm. And he is just, when it comes to his wrestling comedic timing with his posts and all that, he is just lightning in a bottle, okay? So recently he did this little spoof where he basically, I think he was dubbing himself Dickhausen or something like that. And it was kind of cool. You know, you got the infamous app that's running around, Reface, whatever the hell you're calling it. And he pretty much took his image and he put it on the actual face of Danhausen. And next thing you know, his account had got in trouble. And I was just bummed out over that. So I'm going, wait a minute. The only way that can actually happen is if the person that he's actually mocking, mimicking, has actually come across it and has decided, oh, no, we can't be having that because that is a form of infringement on one's copyright. So, and I feel that's exactly what had went down. So I'm still a little salty over that because, you know, Dickie don't mean no harm. Dickie don't be bothering nobody. He just be minding his own damn business, just be trying to post stuff out there for fun. The Lights Out unsanctioned match between Orange Cassidy, Adam Cole, pretty good. I gotta tell you though, I know a lot of us were a little bit taken back by some of the still shot images that were being shown on social media, and we definitely were under the impression when we were watching the broadcast tonight that these two guys were going to be fighting outside. They were going to maybe be fighting on some type of a beach or whatnot, because you saw the still shots that were running around. They're on a beach and they're just looking at each other, and you got the nice bright sun just shining above them and everything. And Adam Cole's got his nice wet hair going on, and you're just going, oh, this should be fun, right? This should be fun. What did I tell you guys last week when we first heard about Beach Break and how Beach Break was going to be coming up? What did I tell you guys? I said somewhere in the world, it's warm out there. Just work with AEW. Yeah, I know. It's winter time. We're at the peak of winter time. I thought for sure, no bullshit, guys, because I didn't even think about where AEW was going to be doing Beach Break this week. I thought for sure AEW was going to be in California. I really thought they were going to be somewhere warm right about now. Hell, I thought maybe they were going to possibly be somewhere in Florida, right? Because it's usually nice and warm in Florida pretty much all year round, give or take roughly, you know, pleasantly warm. I thought for sure they were going to be somewhere warm, but to hear that they basically were in Cleveland, Ohio for Beach Break, I just couldn't help but go, Lord, the frigid temperatures out there. Okay, it is what it is, right? I know a lot of people were just really shitting on that. They were having a field day with the jokes and everything. Yeah, you definitely make jokes. You definitely can. But for me, it was just, look, besides the name of the event, let's just get to the damn action. How's the in-ring action overall? This show's actually pretty good. That unsanctioned match between Cassidy and Cole was actually pretty good. Honestly, a lot of the matches that they had for this week was all around pretty decent. Pretty decent, I would have to say, overall. We'll talk a lot more about Dynamite. I'll go over some key points, all that good stuff. And then we'll pretty much just, take it from there. But first things first, definitely want to rewind it back and go over with you all some of the AEW matches that came about from this week's AEW Dark. We already tackled Dark Elevation's card on Monday's show. So in regards to AEW Dark for this week, Jungle Boy was in action against Nick Camarado. 2.0 saw action as they teamed up with Daniel Garcia to face Kikoa, Pat Brink, and Rayo. The Bunny faced Erica Lee. Meanwhile, Layla Hirsch faced Janai Kai. Lance Archer was in action against Joe Keys. Penta El Zero Miedo took on Wheeler Yuta. You also had the Acclaimed teaming up with the Gun Club to face the Dark Order's Alan Angels, Alex Reynolds, Evo Uno, and 10. So that was your card for this week's AEW Dark. So check that out when you guys get a chance. Already see a couple of spoilers out there for this week's AEW Rampage as well. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. Look, in regards to talking more about Dynamite tonight, and by the way, as far as Danhausen and him being in AEW, it's official. They've already got the graphic out there online and everything. Tony Khan also announced Danhausen's appearance, saying that he has officially signed with the company. So they got the all elite graphic treatment, all that good stuff. So it is official. It is official. So looking forward to seeing him in AEW as far as in-ring competition goes in the very near future, because as some of you all know, Danhausen had underwent surgery for a broken tibia and fibula back, November of last year. So, you know, it's interesting because when you look at the reactions for him online, you know, you see a majority of the fans that are pretty ecstatic for it. But you also see those that are basically kind of, they're being negative. I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. You want to have a field day, just go check out some of the forums and all that, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so let's get into this here. So no random order. We're just going to kind of go a little bit all over the place here. So biggest takeaways. Well, we're finally going to get the MJF CM Punk match. It's going to be going down on next week's Dynamite. This pretty much came after CM Punk had got in the ring on this week's Dynamite, wearing his wrestling gear. He wanted to fight. He was there to fight. He wasn't there to talk. He wanted to fight MJF. And he talked a pretty good game. CM Punk did. MJF came on out. You know, pretty much your rinse, repeat. Honestly, the mic exchange this go round between CM Punk and MJF, not really, out of all the encounters they've done so far, this really wasn't the strongest. I would say this was most likely the weakest of their encounters so far on the microphone. It was the weakest, but they made up for it from the standpoint of we saw CM Punk get put in a position where this go round, the numbers truly were not in his favor as he got ganged up on. And I thought that was so interesting that CM Punk had got ganged up too, by the way, because I can't help but look at the fact that Pinnacle members, FTR, and then you had Wardlow, Sean Spears, all those guys came out and they pretty much put a hurting on CM Punk. I don't know how it played out for you guys in real time as you saw this beat down to Punk go down, but for me, I couldn't help but go, well, wait a minute. CM Punk came back and he's been having these really good matches with folks. He wrestled, Matt Sydal, did he not? He faced Matt Sydal. He faced just another name, I'm drawing a blank, Darby Allin. I remember there was seemed like a nice little alliance there that was going on between Punk, Sting, Darby Allin, and when it counts the most now, these guys are nowhere to be found to come to the aid of CM Punk to try and help balance out the odds here of what's going on. So I couldn't help but really feel as though there was something under the radar that we might have missed, that you could have missed if you really weren't thinking like that as all of that was playing out. in real time. It's one of those situations you go, so are folks really happy in the back? In storyline, of course, are folks really happy in the back that CM Punk is with AEW? Because I can't recall if it was MJF. I feel as though maybe it was MJF in a previous promo where he said, hey, let's be honest here. The people in the back, they might be saying to your face one thing, but, you know, behind your back, they don't want you here. They don't want you having anything to do with this company, right? So I couldn't help but just keeping up with the storyline. I just couldn't help but look at what went down tonight and just say, you know, eventually we will get a heel CM Punk. It is going to go down. And I just kind of feel like some of the seeds that have been planted thus far with Punk being back, I'm talking about long after the honeymoon period where he's just long after that, you just really feel as though there's, you look hard enough, there's definitely some breadcrumbs, and definitely some breadcrumbs was placed in there tonight. You know, another great job that AEW did was continuing with the breadcrumbs of that eventual breakaway for Wardlow from MJF. As we're seeing that beatdown going on with Punk, you've got Wardlow, who at this point isn't having anything to do with this gang up on Punk. He is literally chilling in the corner, and he just has this, I don't know if you want to call it a disgusted look on his face, but he definitely has the type of look on his face that would suggest he would rather be doing anything else but be there with those guys. Anything else he would rather be doing than that. And MJF, once again, pretty much playing quarterback, telling Wardlow, powerbomb him. The reluctance that Wardlow had, the reluctance that he had, and not wanting to do it, you know, but, you know, physically and just the whole facial expressions, everything with Wardlow, I love how he has just been selling it so far for a guy that really has not been doing that much talking. Just the facial expressions, the body language, everything he is delivering on all fronts. I fucking am loving it. I'm loving it about him. So he did that reluctant power bomb as he power bombed CM Punk onto a steel chair. Luckily, it wasn't folded out and you know, set up properly. It was just laid out on the mat. And then you've got MJF sitting on CM Punk Indian style, like he's getting ready to do the pipe bomb to deliver the news that he'll face CM Punk next week on Dynamite, where he's hoping to pretty much embarrass the hell out of CM Punk in his hometown of Chicago, as that's where Dynamite is going to be next week. So should be a pretty good match. I'm actually looking forward to that, seeing how all that plays out. You know, another thing that was pretty smart about the way this was orchestrated, just tying it back to Wardlow one more time, by the way, I like the fact that prior to this beatdown on Punk, we saw Wardlow in a handicap match against some jobbers, and he pretty much was just destroying the hell out of these guys. His Symphony of Destruction tour, basically. I believe he did 5 power bombs on one guy, with the 5th one coming at the hands of power bombing dude on the other guy, and then just adding more insult to injury, just putting his foot up on the stomach of the guy he powered bomb, who happens to be laying on top of the other guy to get the 3 count victory. Thought that was pretty damn sweet. Everything setting that up, leading to that Punk beatdown. But pretty well organized the way they had that set up. Dynamite opening up pretty damn hot as well. Was it Wolstein Center? I think that was the location. Wolstein Center in Cleveland, Ohio. Jim Ross, Excalibur, Tony Schiavone doing their thing. Opening up with the TNT Championship match. Cody Rhodes taking on Sammy Guevara. Nice way to start your show. Nice set of a bunch of moves that were going on in there. Some of the stuff that was happening in there. you couldn't help but go, okay, why are we doing this? Just some of the moves that was going on in this match, you're going, why are we doing this? This is not how you're going to be able to win the match, right? Because the whole purpose of this match was to climb up the ladder, grab both championships. That's the only way you can do it. But we saw these guys, doing crazy shit. For instance, Swanton that had hit Cody, and the ladder wasn't given whatsoever, right? Like, you kind of, okay. And then Sammy delivering a cutter to Cody on top of the ladder, basically, or somewhere on the way to get to the top of the ladder. We saw Sammy hit Cody with a cutter. And a little bit later on, you see Cody connect with the crossroads on Guevara. We were seeing there were some sweet spots that were in there, but some of it you're going, some of the stuff that they were doing, it didn't quite make sense. But if you didn't really go into this, not really trying to scrutinize, not trying to be critical, for what it was worth, there were some pretty amazing sweet spots. Even though some of them didn't quite make sense, there were some pretty sweet ass spots, with the cutter being one of the coolest ass spots that I've seen, that I've personally seen. I think Randy Orton would be nodding in approval with what he had saw there. And then adding on top of that, Sammy Guevara coming away with the win, I thought that was pretty damn sweet. All in itself, I thought that was pretty damn sweet. Look, as far as Sammy, it's interesting too, because let's talk about that for a hot minute. So Sammy Guevara is now the undisputed TNT champion. So let's see if we got this straight. So we did this nice stuff with Sammy initially, but then Sammy loses the championship. A lot of us were kind of under the impression that maybe Cody was going to hold on to the championship just long enough until maybe he crossed paths with Hook because of some stuff that had played out. And we talked about this some weeks back. So a lot of us were kind of under the impression, okay, well, maybe that's kind of where we're going to be going. Then we do this whole week thing where, for COVID protocol measures, Cody does not appear on programming, and then we get this interim champion that just kind of leaves you scratching your head, and it's one thing if, okay, he's going to be gone, Cody that is, he's going to be gone for at least 3.5+ weeks or whatever, maybe almost a month. That'd be one thing. Okay, interim champion, all right, fine. But he was only gone for a week, and then we pretty much, you feel where I'm coming from? So, kind of weird. Kind of weird right there. This match, these boys put in, this match went about 23, 24, maybe 25 minutes. But these boys, they bust their ass in this. I really got to give it up to them. They bust their ass. They really put in the work in this one. Backs bruised up and all. But Fuego's presence, by the way, I don't think that was really necessary to have that nice little, I get we're trying to with the friendship and all of that good stuff, but I wasn't really particularly fond of that whatsoever. Yeah, it just seems weird that we did all of this only to put the championship back on Sammy. If you really take a step back and think about it, Sammy really did not need this win over Cody. Sammy was doing just fine with what he was doing. It's weird because you had the Men of the Year in Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page with Dan Lambert, and they've been mouthing off about Cody and everything, taking their shots at him. So you kind of felt that with some of what you were seeing on TV, that as far as storylines, you felt that maybe eventually something was going to go down there with Men of the Year. and Cody Rhodes. But now you're looking at this trajectory and you're going, okay, so just where exactly are we going here next with Cody and everything? It definitely leaves me scratching my head going, so what's next here for Cody? Exactly, because we've had this bump in the road with this TNT championship. All right, now we're back with Sammy. Honestly, Sammy should have never lost it in the first place. I think we all can be in agreement of that, okay? And I'm looking forward to seeing his future TNT title defenses. I'm looking forward to seeing, just some of the matchups that I'm thinking about off the break is going to be pretty damn good. I know ultimately I would love to see Hook. I would love to see Hook get in there with Sammy. I definitely want to see Daniel Garcia get in there. I wouldn't mind seeing, I don't think it's happened yet, but I wouldn't mind seeing John Silver lock up with Guevara for the TNT championship. There's a Evil Uno. Evil Uno is actually another one. I know Christopher Daniels recently resurfaced. I'm already eyeballing Frankie Kazarian. There's a whole bunch of people I'm looking at going, yo, let's freaking do that. And then let's not forget, we got Miro in the background there. Oh man, that's gonna be hot right there. Hot money right there. Next up, Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz teaming up to take on 2.0 Daniel Garcia. Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz picking up the victory here. This one moved a little bit slow, I personally felt. Understand where I'm coming from, especially if you had watched Dynamite tonight, or you're going to be watching Dynamite. Because I know some of you guys, you like to watch the show, then you'll check out what I had to say. Because I know a lot of you guys are out and about working, so you'll catch it on your DVR. Then some of you guys usually like to circle back and give me your thoughts and all that. But when you look at that opening match between Cody and Sammy, we can all be in agreement that the tempo for that match was bam, right? It was just out of the gate, fast paced. This one, we slowed it down. We slowed it down big time here. But despite slowing it down, they told a really good story. And they didn't have to beat the horse to death in telling the story. The story here was basically Santana and Ortiz feeling as though Chris Jericho really does not have the best intentions, right? He really doesn't mean well as far as wanting to see them truly succeed, truly being in their corner, being their rah-rah guy and all that. That he's pretty much in for himself, because that's what Jericho is pretty much all about. He's just all about himself. So I like the fact that we had friction that was going on with that tag team, with that side of the tag team, because every single time Chris Jericho was tagged in and he thought he was going to be able to go in there, do his part as part of the tag team, either Santana or Ortiz immediately tagged him out and were tagging themselves in the process. So you're looking at this communication breakdown and you're going, okay, you know what? I don't know how this tag team is even going to be able to coexist, because man, look at all this crap that's going on here. You just felt as if at one point Jericho was just going to say, fuck it, Junior, and just roll the hell out. But that's not what happened. Jericho continued to be there for all intents and purposes. When you really stop and think about it, he really could have just said, F it, and rolled out. But he continued to be there trying to contribute to this tag match. So a very interesting tale that was being told right here, I personally felt. The action did slow down. Look, I don't know if maybe that's because of Jericho and just kind of where he is right now at this stage of his career. I don't know if maybe the tempo was slowed down because Jericho's involvement or what, because not for nothing, but whenever Jericho was not involved in the match, it seemed that the tempo was but whenever Jericho was getting in there, it seemed that the tempo kept going down. So I'll leave that up to you guys for discussion there. But what was this? About almost a 10-minute tag match. Closing moments of this one, Parker and Lee, they're grabbing on Santana. They're looking for the 2 for the show, but Jericho manages to pull Parker out, connects with the Judas effect, and there is a pin in the ring from Santana after a pile driver pretty much had got the victory that way. So Jericho coming in with a little bit of help from outside the ring that Santana and Ortiz did not even see. And post-match, Chris Jericho, he's pretty much talking a big old hot ball of trash to Santana and Ortiz. And I'm very, very, of all the story arcs that's currently going on in AEW right now, this one I'm finding the most investment in right now is because, we got all the guys that pretty much were in Inner Circle. They're all pretty much branching off now and doing their own thing. They're not about Inner Circle anymore when it's all said and done. And for Santana and Ortiz, I love the idea of, okay, you know what? We just need to be done with this whole Inner Circle bullshit. We just need to be done with this Chris Jericho bullshit because it plays into the narrative. Really take a step back and think about it, because this is something that we did talk about on last week's show. It plays to the narrative of what some fans have been feeling online in regards to the male tag team division in AEW. And you go, wait a minute. We've had Santana and Ortiz in AEW for how long? And how many tag matches have they been involved in? How many championship opportunities have these guys had? How many times have they been AEW tag team champions now? Wait, what? Say what? So it plays to that narrative that some fans have been noticing, definitely what we had talked about on last week's show and everything. So I'm all in on this. I want to see where we're going to go ultimately with this. Is there going to be a big old explosion and everything just breaks apart, or what? I'm very curious to see how this is gonna play itself out. Could it maybe go down a path where maybe Chris Jericho fights in the ring? That is, like, he literally fights Santana or Ortiz. I could actually see it go down that path. I don't think that it's really necessary, though. I think if anything, I would not be surprised if in the very near future, something comes about where Jericho and Kingston, because when you just look at how things were prior to Kingston going out with his injury, all signs seem to indicate that Kingston was going to be the one to, ultimately, and him and Jericho were ultimately going to be brawling with each other. Depending on where Kingston will be with his recovery in the coming weeks, as far as how soon he'll be able to come back into the ring, the earliest, whether it's going to be 2 months from now or maybe 3 months, Tony Khan and crew, they're in a really good position right here, because if you want to spin some type of a narrative where ultimately it is revealed that Chris Jericho, of course, all I do is I care about myself. Of course, it's all about, I would love to see, and I want to choose my words carefully here, but I would like to see a Jericho that comes out there, this current Jericho. You don't have to go heel with this current Jericho. You don't have to go the heel route. But you can definitely go the route where Jericho says something along the lines of, after everything that I've done for you, after everything that I've done for your career at this stage in your professional careers, this is how you want to fucking do me. Let's be honest, before AEW, before I came in, look at where the hell you were. Look at how much money you were bringing in. I would love to see that Jericho definitely surface and in storyline give that reality check to Santana and Ortiz. And whether it's the truth or not, it would be just, okay, all right, he's giving some solid truth here. But at the same time, it would be nice to see pushback from guys like Santana and Ortiz say, okay, and what? We're fucking supposed to forever be in your debt? You know, we came in here, we pretty much were doing all your fucking bullshit work. Whatever you need cleaned up, we fucking did it. You wanted to do this fucking inner circle bullshit. We wanted to go do our own fucking thing. You know, we honestly did it out of gratitude for you getting us here and everything, but we paid that debt back a long time ago and then some. I would love to see, I don't know how you guys are, but for me personally, there's a lot of exploring that you can do with this, but do you need basically a heel Jericho to surface in order to really make this click on a lot of cylinders? I personally don't feel you do. I personally don't feel you do. But if you could do it in such a way where Eddie Kingston comes off, I fucking told you, homie, I told you, that would be pretty badass. Let's see. Next up, Tony Schiavone was interviewing Private Party, Matt Hardy, Jurassic Express, Christian. This pretty much, once again, I like that we are putting the spotlight here on the male tag team division. Spotlight on our current tag champions and everything. This is pretty much, there was nothing really here to be made from this. Basically, Christian Cage, he still hasn't forgotten about what the Gun Boys had did to him last week. So he's still looking to write out that receipt and everything. Matt Hardy, he doesn't give a damn what's going on between, you know, him, Christian and Jurassic and the Ass Boys, and he doesn't give it. He cares about HFO. He cares about his Private Party boys and all that. That's all he's invested in. That's all he cares about. But I love that he said no one cares about the Ass Boys. That just made me chuckle big time. Fucking big time. So we already went over the CM Punk MJF segment, so we can keep rocking and rolling from there. Let's see. Probably one of the weakest segments of the night. Yeah, and that's my girl. I fucking love her, man. Seriously, big fan of hers. But the Britt Baker segment, wasn't feeling that. I was not feeling that. So let me see if I got this straight. We set up the ring with Tony Schiavone, and we got this nice table that just shows all these nice little, you know, decors. And in this case, it's a bunch of Pro Wrestling Illustrated decorations, right? Britt Baker winning a couple of awards, and right, we got all this stuff that's just on display basically. And we've got her just basking in the fact that 2021 was the era of the DMD, and ever since she won the title, you know, she's had 9 victories, and she puts down Cleveland, and you know, all of this great stuff. Puts down Baker Mayfield, talks about how, hey, let's talk about a Baker that's actually been winning shit, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the stuff that she was spitting out there and everything was pretty good, right? For me, there was too much focus on being presented so nice and everything to the hard camera. This was kind of one of those moments where I couldn't help but go, let's talk more to the fans. You know, we appreciate you looking into the hard camera to those of us at home, but, you know, actually work each side of the ring, you know, come on, right? And I don't know if that would have helped in her segment particularly a little better, because it seemed as though when she was really throwing the insults and really making fun of Cleveland, I mean, you had that nice rapport from the crowd back at her. However, the more time that was spent with her just solely focused in one direction, being the hard camera, the fans in attendance, they lost interest in that. And right down to the point, they just wanted to be done with the segment. Go back and watch it. You definitely tell at those key points that I'm talking about, okay? So for me, that was pretty, right? She talked about how the division was a wasteland, but she's now made it be a Brittopia. Anyone could have made the division theirs, but no one had stepped up to the plate, basically. She didn't have to take anybody's spot. She pretty much just came in and created the damn spot and everything. How she took over the entire division. She has surpassed the entire roster. Just pretty much, I did this, I made history, I did this, I did that. And that she will be the champion that everybody deserves. She is a baker that everybody can depend on. I just couldn't help but go, okay, so we got all these nice props set up here, and whenever I look at props and decors, I go, oh, we're going to fuck this up. So who's going to come out and who's going to mess all of this up? Who's going to get into the face of Britt Baker and say, excuse me, honey, boo-boo, chow. Nah. You ain't beat me yet. Right? Who was going to come out? Who? Nobody. Gotta cue up that Keith Sweat song. Nobody came out. And I just couldn't help but shake my head and go, yo, what was the whole point of this segment? Seriously, if all that was going to be done with this segment was just her bragging, we easily could have just had her do a selfie from her hotel room, with all the little PWI awards and all that, and that could have been the end of it. So that just, for me, that... Love Britt Baker, but that was just a crap segment as far as I was concerned. You got all those props out there and you don't utilize. Come on. Kind of interesting that we moved on from that, where immediately we had, Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose come out. Okay, so Nyla Rose, we just heard the AEW Women's Champion put out this hot game. We got Nyla Rose who comes out there. Surely Nyla Rose, her compass is in the direction of, well, shit, we got the champion out here talking a real good hot game. Well, this bitch has pretty much been lucky because she ain't never met a beast like me, because I'd break that bitch's ass, right? Surely Nyla Rose is going to come out and have some type of a rebuttal to what Britt Baker had said. It's not like she left the ring that fast. But no, Nyla Rose is pissed at the fact that Ruby Soho had beat her. She's still tripping over the bullshit fucking tournament thing to go on and do the whole TBS champion, and she's still tripping over that. So she pretty much says that what Ruby Soho had did was a fluke victory. She could face Ruby Soho 99 times and own her ass. That 100th time, that was the one time where Ruby was lucky. And she wants to prove that point by having a fight against Ruby. Boy, Nyla Rose is fixing for a fight. She's fuming. She wants her some Ruby Soho bad. She wants to just tear her up right now. Right? Nah, next week. Can you just imagine that? Just picture that for a second. You're at work. I'm so mad. Oh, what happened? Man, I opened up my paycheck stub and, I know I was supposed to get an additional $65. Really? Yeah, I kept track of how many hours I had worked, and I'm supposed to get an extra $65, and they didn't give me an extra $65. So what are you going to do about it? Well, I'm going to go and I'm going to speak to HR and I'm going to make sure they give me my money. Yeah, that's good. That's exactly what you should do. Yeah, go ahead. Take care of your business. I'm going to go talk to HR. Come back 5 minutes later. Did you talk to HR? I didn't talk to HR. I'm going to talk to them next week. I mean, shit. Let's at least get, you know, I know Ruby's not here this week for whatever personal reasons. So, Ruby, I know your little skinny white ass is watching this at home. I'll see you next week, bitch, right? At least don't just come out there, I'm mad. Next week. Just made her look like a fucking fool, man. Seriously, it just made her look like a fucking fool. Let's see. I missed a match, by the way. Let me go back a second here. I missed a match. The match I was thinking about was Red Velvet and Layla Hirsch. Layla got me on my knees, Layla. Begging, darling, please, Layla. Darling, won't you ease my worry? By the way, quick side note, how about that news about Neil Young? You can't really feel sorry for him, right? So if you had missed the news today, or Wednesday, Spotify has decided that effective immediately. Now, last time I had checked, and I'll actually check right now since we're still live here for the next little bit, but Spotify has decided effective immediately they were going to pull all of Neil Young's music from Spotify after he had, you know, penned that open statement about misinformation about COVID and all that other shit, and from the Joe Rogan show, and basically an ultimatum, which was, look, you either ditch Joe Rogan or you fucking ditch me. You know, you can't have both. So they ditch Neil Young. They ditched Neil Young. And, you know, he knew he messed up because he put it out there, and then I guess he thought about it, and then he tried to do the whole tweet and delete. And what do I always tell you guys? Before you hit send, think about it. And if there's even a slight hesitation, don't post it. Don't post it. And yeah, as it stands right now, at the time that we're on the air right now for January 27, 2022 at almost 1 a.m., his music has been pulled. That was not the case earlier this evening around, I would say, 5 p.m. His whole catalog, everything was still, because I was actually listening to some Neil Young on Spotify. His music was still on there. But yeah, and just to add insult to injury, you can't feel sorry for him though, right? But he did like a follow-up statement saying something along the lines of basically when he was following the money, Spotify revenue was 60% of his pie. So as far as, you know, where's mainly all his money coming from, basically, he was saying that 60% of the revenue that's been coming to him has been from Spotify. So he was benefiting from Spotify tremendously, and he was talking about how that's going to be a big sting for his record company and all of that, but, you know, eventually they'll be able to bounce. You can't feel sorry, right? You can't. Me personally, teach its own. Me personally, I ain't rocking the boat, man, unless I got a fucking tight-ass backup that's already in place. I ain't messing up my paper, man. Seriously. You know how black folks are, Spanish folks and everything. Like, nah, Holmes, you on your own on that one. You go ahead and fall on that sword. We just gonna keep that money, and we just gonna be like, Joe who? Who? Man, I don't even know who that is, cuz. Seriously, I don't know who that is. You could give me a whole biography on that dude. Like, all I care about is my shit and my money. That's how I would have done it. Layla Hirsch, Red Velvet. A little bit of a sloppy match, but a valiant effort from both girls. Layla Hirsch picking up the W here. Post-match, I remember Layla was still being pretty relentless on Red Velvet until Chris Statlander came running from just out of nowhere. And Layla Hirsch just hauled ass running up the ramp and everything. So, sloppy match, but kind of looking a little bit further down the rabbit hole here. You know, obviously the real focus needs to be put on Layla, Statlander. Should be pretty decent. So we hope. Let's see. We already talked about the Orange Cassidy, Adam Cole, Lights Out match. Yeah, that's it. So grand total, we have 4 matches for tonight's Dynamite, guys. Believe it or not. So couple of weeks there that we had of some average shows, give or take. A little mix in there with a little bit of bad quality as well. But this was a pretty good show. You know, you opened up with a nice white hot ladder match, and then you end it with a unsanctioned match. Just to talk a little bit more about Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole in the match that they had and everything. You know, there was a lot to love in this match. There was a lot, especially the little spot where Adam Cole is going under the ring apron and he's looking for some foreign objects or whatever. I think at one point he was trying to pull out a table or something, and he felt some resistance, and he couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. And the next thing you know, you got Danhausen that just comes from under there, and all he's doing is just, you know, he's just pointing at him. And Adam Cole was just looking like, what the fuck? I love that. Adam Cole, he sold the hell out of that. I love that. That was a pretty good spot right there. That was good. You would like to believe that this is the end of the feud. You would like to believe that this is it. And that Cole is going to move on. Will Cole maybe actually move on in the direction of Danhausen? You know, why was Danhausen sticking his nose in my business? What the hell was going? You know, is he maybe going to kind of move respectfully in that direction, or what? Good strong showing by Orange Cassidy. I like the spot that they did over by the stage ramp area above the entrances, because Adam Cole thought he was going to be able to do some type of a high-risk maneuver from the top, but then when he looked to see where Cassidy was, Cassidy had already climbed up the steel structure, was right behind him, hit him with a freaking low blow, and you've got Cole just savoring those poor jewels of his. Icy hot, my brother, icy hot. He really could not truly tend to himself as Orange Cassidy just gave him a nice big hug, and Cole sold the hell out of that hug. He's kind of like, really, dude? Like, why are you? I don't understand. And then you realize what Orange Cassidy really has in mind for the former UE leader, which was to basically send him crashing through a stage structure, you know, on the ground level. But when you really go back and look at that, I hate to burst the bubble here, but when you really go back and you look at that spot, because after that, it was over. After they crashed through that little stage area spot there, you know, Cassidy is on top of Cole. 1, 2, 3, the match is over. But if you go back, Adam Cole did not even take a brute amount of crashing through that prop area. He didn't. Don't believe me? Go back and check it out. It was all on Orange Cassidy. And the only thing that pretty much from Orange Cassidy, you know, he pretty much broke through the structure with his foot/knee. I mean, it just gave out very nicely, just very nicely, right? But go back and watch it. It wasn't the move that pretty much broke that area up and all that. It wasn't, oh man, Cole's whatever, part of blah, blah, blah. Cole's body went through. No, it was all on Orange Cassidy. So, but good match. Good match. Good match for what it was worth. Let's see. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. You know, if I could go back and change a couple of things, Britt's promo definitely would not have been as long as it was, especially given the fact that it really felt like something was being built up, that maybe somebody was getting ready to come out. Who? And the fact that nothing was delivered, very heartbreaking. So I definitely would have gone back. I would have changed that. Good high point there between CM Punk, MJF. Wasn't their best war of words, I personally feel. But we're getting the match next week. That's pretty much what that setup was all about. The slow burn on Wardlow eventually turning face. That was pretty good. The breadcrumbs they gave us for this week. We already gave marks there to Cole and Orange Cassidy there. Great fucking ladder match. Yeah, pretty good episode. Pretty good episode of Dynamite for this week. If you guys been enjoying yourself so far and you haven't done so already, as we're now here at the hour mark, it looks like, and I'm actually going to officially put a timestamp on that. By the way, if you guys are experiencing any lag, let me know, because I can now edit on the fly. I can just reset my settings over here, and we should be good to go. So we did about an hour talking about AEW. This is for my timestamps for later, so I can easily go back in there. Yeah, but if you guys been enjoying yourself so far, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go out of your way and you smash that like button. When you do that, you really help content like this reach a more broader audience. And I'm definitely sending that big shout out to those of you that check out the content via YouTube. Definitely hit that like button. Really helps big time. And subscribe. When you subscribe, that definitely lets me know I need to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'll do my very best to put more content out there for you guys. All right. Appreciate that, and thanks in advance. Feel free to give me a follow as well over on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords the RCWR show. So that's Dynamite. Now, I do see some stuff that's coming about for this week's AEW Rampage. This is how it's looking, apparently. Jon Moxley takes on Anthony Bowens. I already know the results too, by the way. That's why I said there's already some AEW spoilers. I'm not going to give you guys the spoilers. I don't do the spoilers, so you guys are in good hands. But Jon Moxley is in action against Anthony Bowens, and it looks like once again we're going to be seeing another Bryan Danielson cameo. For those of you that liked what you had got of his cameo from last week, you're going to get another one there. FTR takes on Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson. Make sure you pay very close attention, as there's a really cool spot that's going to be going down that does not involve those respected tag teams. It actually involves some other parties. Give you that little hint right now. AEW TBS Championship match. Jade Cargill defends against Julia Hart. And we have a AEW World Tag Team Championship match, as Jurassic Express will be defending against Private Party. So that is your card for this week's AEW Rampage. So yeah, I try to do my best not to spoil. I don't like spoiling stuff. I don't. Especially because, remember, I also cover AEW Rampage Friday nights for 411 Mania. So, like, regardless if it's taped or not taped, I do my best to dodge the spoilers for you guys, and I try to experience it just like you guys are experiencing it in real time. Now, the match card that I gave you all just now for Rampage, they went over it for tonight's Dynamite. They told us the full card for it. So all the matches that you just heard, they already ran that down on Dynamite. I just happen to know who won what. But from what I've been able to gather from those that were in attendance, this Rampage was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty good. So of the card, some of the matches that I'm looking at here, of the ones that I'm actually, bear with me a second here. Of the matches, the ones I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to go with my gut instinct here. I'm just going to tell you guys off the break. I think Moxley and Bowens, I think that's pretty much just going to be like a squash. I would be surprised if that match went 4 minutes long. FTR taking on Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson. There's no way I'm seeing that go 5 minutes. I think the TBS championship match between Jade Cargill and Julia Hart, I'd be shocked if that went 5 minutes. I think where the meat and potatoes is really going to be for this week's Rampage is going to be on the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, Jurassic Express and Private Party. I wouldn't be surprised if that match went 20, maybe almost 25 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if that was really your main centerpiece, right? And then everything else is just fillers. Promos here, promos there. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that's what had came about. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Now, as far as Brian Cage, look, we already know what's been going on with Brian Cage. Brian Cage, and shout out to his beautiful wife, Melissa Santos. I know Melissa Santos, and we covered it on the show. Melissa Santos, she's only guilty of wanting nothing but the very best for her husband. I'm sure that legit there is a part of her that, what's going on? Why isn't my husband being utilized more? But the media has done a really piss poor job in misconstruing some of the things that she's been putting out there and, kind of using it against her. But there is that, without a doubt, there's definitely that narrative that's out there about, what's going on with Brian Cage here? He's been in these weird spots here. It's funny because we just talked about Brian Cage being involved in a wrestling match. As a matter of fact, if you bear with me, I can actually go back to my show notes from Monday's RCWR show, because I remember mentioning a promotion that he had worked with over the weekend. So that would have been the 25th. Yeah, here it is. I'm actually looking at it right now. I'm looking at my notes here. And it looks like Brian Cage wrestled Will Ospreay. He wrestled Will Ospreay for Warrior Wrestling 18. I remember we went over the results. I'm looking at it, by the way. Yeah, he did that over the weekend. So he's been doing independent bookings for other promotions. So as far as maybe he's out on injury or no, he is doing his thing. Honestly, I feel in my heart of hearts, we are at a point right now where it follows up on something I had said during the AwesomeCon panel from last year, which if you guys did not check that out, I highly recommend you do. That was pretty well received and everything. But I remember at one point I had said during that panel how I was really concerned about Tony Khan becoming Ash Ketchum of Pokemon when it comes to this wrestler's not available. Oh, this wrestler's not available. Got him, catch 'em all. Pokemon. And we're now getting to this point in AEW where we got all these talents. And see, that's great that in headlines you've got Tony Khan saying in interviews, we're never gonna fire any of our talents. We're not gonna do what WWE does and fire them during the holiday. We're never gonna, right? And that may, well, good for you, Tony Khan. Yeah. But these contracts that wrestlers are under with AEW right now, if Tony Khan gets to a situation, if he gets to a point where he feels you know what? I'm not really feeling this person anymore. Oh, this person had said some stuff about me online. Yeah, I don't really want to give them any more TV time. I don't even want them on the YouTube shows. That's how much I don't like them. I don't even want them on the YouTube shows. Yeah, they may still be under that contract, and we don't really know the logistics of those contracts as far as, okay, so is it guaranteed this is your base salary, and then this is going to be the bonus money that you're going to be making per blah 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 TV appearance or YouTube appearance, right? The days of, or we're going to have all these people and yeah, we're just going to have them. AEW has now reached that point where it's, yeah, they may not be firing people like WWE is doing, but they are going to let those contracts play out. And when it comes time to renew, nah, we're just going to go on ahead. All right. Nice working with you. See ya. Only way it's going to break even sooner is if said talent, hey, I really want to break away. I want to go do my own thing. That's the only way, unless that talent comes to them and there's a mutual understanding and they agree to let's part ways. It's the only way that it's going to go down. I don't know how much more time is left on Brian Cage's contract. I know Peter Avalon's contract is up in the air right now. There's a lot of conflicting reports that's out there, especially after Peter Avalon had said openly on social media that he now has he's now accepting independent bookings for 2022. And you've seen that trend. Leo Rush, he's now done with AEW. Leo Rush is just going to be a journeyman when it's all said and done. I don't see Leo Rush, put a ring on it. I don't see that with Leo Rush. Maybe in his personal life when it comes to, right, because he has a beautiful wife and everything, but maybe he'll put a ring on it over there. But as far as putting a ring on it and just for life or for better or worse, I'm just winging it out with this company. I don't see that with Leo Rush. Leo Rush is just going to continue to be that journeyman. If you were to ask me straight up, why do I think things had went the way that it did with Leo Rush and AEW? It's interesting because on the one hand, Leo Rush, 1 minute, he was with AEW. And then he disappeared for a handful of months because he had to get some surgery or whatever. So he retired, and then he came back, and then he disappeared again. He came back, and I don't think what he had said in regards to Big Swole and her comments about diversity, I don't think that was the nail in the coffin for a guy like Leo Rush. I would not be surprised. I don't think some months could go by, and we know how outspoken Leo Rush can and is. I just, if I were a betting man, I just feel that maybe there some other stuff that was going on. Personal, I'm not going to speculate, but I'd be surprised if it was just all about the whole Tony Khan diversity thing. Me personally, teach its own, but I would be very surprised if Leo ultimately walked away because of the whole diversity. I just feel that there's a lot more that's at play, and we just kind of need to just sit on our hands for now and just see how everything plays out. Let enough time go by. I have a feeling Leo will open up about that. I have a feeling. Going back to Brian Cage, though, I don't know how much more time he's got left on his schedule. His contract. I don't know how much time is left on his schedule. But I would imagine his contract should be coming up for renewal soon. It should be getting ready to expire because he's pretty much been with AEW, I feel, almost since day one. So unless there was some type of a re-up that we don't know about, he should be the next one that, and look, I hope that Tony Khan and them, for whatever respected reasons, if they can't squash whatever's been going on, it's a new year, new beginnings, past beef, just past transgressions. Just let that be a thing of the past. Let's just focus on the here and the now moving forward. You know, if they can't truly let bygones be bygones, then particularly Tony Khan, you know, if he can't just, then that's a disservice to a guy like Brian Cage, and Brian Cage definitely fucking deserves better, and hopefully the right thing will be done. If I were to make a bold statement, I would not be surprised, honestly, if Brian Cage were to be granted his release from AEW. Do not be surprised if Brian Cage moves on from AEW. And if that were to happen, yo, I personally would love it. I thought Brian Cage was doing pretty damn good in Impact Wrestling for what it was worth. I could see him going back to Impact. I could definitely see him doing some work for MLW. He'd be a great addition for NWA, for sure. WWE, I don't see that happening. You know, he's an older guy. And we know what WWE's new blueprint is these days, so I just don't see that happening, you know. But stranger things have and will happen. So, hey, I want to go over just some of the categories that is available right now, because I told you guys, and I've been teasing this for a couple of weeks now, but we finally have a few categories that's up right now. I got to actually finish some of the categories. So my goal is to work on it a little bit more tonight, and I think we'll go ahead and have it be published live. If I can get it done before I go to bed, great. Otherwise, it's going to be published live sometime Thursday afternoon. Of course, I'm talking about the 2021 Lee Sanders presents the Wrestling Awards. Yes. So we've got some categories that's up right now. And I'm definitely open to suggestions from some of you guys for maybe some other additional categories, some fun categories that you all would like to see. So here's what I have so far. And the best part about these categories, you guys have the option to actually go in. You guys get a nice amount of selections, but if you don't like any of those selections, there's an option on each one where you can just select other and type in your choice. So I will be tallying it up basically. The way we're basically going to present this, I will present my picks, my winners, and then you, the listeners, you, the wrestling fans, you have your vote. So it's basically the fan vote. So all the votes I will be tallying up, and we're pretty much just going to let this ride for an entire month, basically. So I will have voting remain open until February. Let's see. I'll have voting remain open until probably February 25th. Let me look at the calendar real quick, because I want to look at the final, yeah, you know what? Let's do that. I'll have voting remain open until Sunday, February 27th. That way we can go over the results on February 28th, that Monday. I think that's more than fair. So you guys got plenty of time to cast your vote and all that good stuff. But check out some of these categories that we got right now. This is only a few of the categories. And like I said, I'm willing to take a few suggestions from you guys as far as other categories you all would like to see. Give me a second here. I gotta log back in. Yes, authorize app. And boom, there we go. All right, so right now we have, let me see here. Bear with me here. I'm trying to, this is my first time checking out the layout for this place I've gone to. Hang on here. Okay, questions. There we go. Hang on. All right, so here's the categories that we got so far. We got Tag Team of the Year, And I'll go over some of the names right now, just kind of give you guys an idea. I think that's more than fair, right? Rather than just, right? It's not that long, too. I've just made 5 categories so far. For Tag Team of the Year, I've got Young Bucks, Briscoes, FTR, Jurassic Express, Private Party, New Day, RK Bro, Lucha Brothers, and of course, other. So even if you don't hear the name of, what about that tag team? There's an other. Just select it, type in your choice. All right. We also have Best Overall Performer of 2021. We've got Roman Reigns, Bryan Danielson, Big E, Bobby Lashley, Hangman Page, Cody Rhodes, Britt Baker, Darby Allin, CM Punk, Kazuki Okada, MJF, Will Ospreay, Shingo Tagachi, Bianca Belair, Walter, Kenny Omega, other. Best Social Media Game of 2021. Now, let me explain this category. It's not long-winded. Basically, what I've been looking for year after year after year, I look at a wrestler and or a wrestling account that is pretty good with their interactions with their fan base, but they also create fun, entertaining, exciting content. And their social media game, it's just dripping. It's just dripping good, okay? So these are some of the categories, or some of the honorary mentions. There might be somebody in here that I'm missing. If you think there is somebody missing, just type it in with other. Hurricane Shane Helms, Jim Cornette, WWE on Fox, WWE on BT Sport, Allison Kay, Jordan Grace, Big E, Xavier Woods, Matt Hardy, Rebby Hardy, Melissa Santos, Thunder Rosa, Road Dogg, Mick Foley, Chelsea Green, Matt Cardona, 2.0. I'm also including their YouTube channel in regards to that. CM Punk. CM Punk, he's good, but I will admit, towards the later end of 2021, he did start, when he was interacting, or not really interacting, but when he was putting out posts, he did start editing them in a way where nobody could reply to them. So I am keeping that in mind. For the most part, he's pretty good with interacting with folks. And of course, there's other. So you guys can go in if you don't like any of those or somebody else you got in mind. Best Promotion of 2021, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, GCW, NWA, MLW, Stardom, WWE, Beyond Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Noah, WXW, Rev Pro, Ring of Honor, and I'm still considering the fact that Ring of Honor, there was a couple of months there, leading up to them saying, we're going away, we're going to re-envision, blah, blah, blah. I still went on ahead, put it on the list. There's another option as well for that. So all these categories, there's an other option. Just remember that. If you hear something, you're like, my selection's not there. There's an other category. Just remember that. Best non-wrestler. MVP, Paul Heyman, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Malcolm Bevins, Pat McAfee, Excalibur, Taz, Don Callis, Dario Cueto, Dan Lambert, Austin Idol, Scott D'Amore. I wonder if Jim Cornette should be put on this list too, because for a non-wrestler, he still has the world of pro wrestling by the balls. Does he not? He trended so many times in 2021. I think we're going to go ahead and, when the show is over, I definitely am going to add him to the list. But I don't think I'll be adding any others. So if you don't like what you hear, you can definitely put a other in that category as well. So that's all I have so far. So I have an idea of the other categories. Of course, there's going to be Best Female Performer of the Year. I think we already mentioned Best Male Performer, right? No, we just said Best Overall Performer. We're definitely going to put a Best Male Performer, Best Female Performer, Best Show, Worst Show, Worst Moment. So there's definitely going to be some nice fun categories in there. I'll be thinking of a couple of more. There's one category I love. We used to do it off and on the past couple of years. I got to figure out the new name for it, but there was some category that was something along the lines of, would you please just go away? Right? It's just like one of those categories. And it was kind of fun, just giving you guys the options for that one. So, yeah, so look out for that. I'm putting the final touches on that. Once I'm done with the show, like I said, I will definitely work on it for maybe another hour or two. And then as long as you're connected to me on social media, even on the YouTube channel, because I'm always posting on the communities tab, I'll post a link to the survey once it's live, and you guys can just go in there and have at it. Just fucking have at it. So it's always fun making these joints. Let's see, what else? What else can we get into here? I think at this point, we can definitely get into some Royal Rumble picks. Let me just hang on real quick here. Let me just check one thing here before, because I know tonight we definitely wanted to go into some Royal Rumble picks. How are we doing on Showtime here? Oh, we're doing pretty good. It's an hour 25. We're doing pretty good. All right. So when it's all said and done, this will probably be about maybe an hour 40-minute show, maybe about an hour 45-minute show, give or take. So let's see. Yeah, I tell you what, let's go through a couple of wrestling notes. It's just a couple of notes I want to bring to you all's attention, and then we'll close out with the Royal Rumble talk, okay? Not really much transpired since last we were on the air with you guys, but I did see that there is an update. This is something that we've been covering the past couple of years now, and it's crazy how, wow, that went down in 2018, and here we are in 2022 now. But there's been an update in Jerry Lawler's lawsuit over his son Brian Christopher's death. The update is there's going to be a new trial date, and it looks as though, shout out to PW Insider, they refers to be on top of this and report this. It looks like Jerry Lawler's lawsuit against a Tennessee county over the 2018 death of his son Brian Christopher has a new trial date that is set for October 31st of this year. Originally, it was set for May 23rd. And remember, for some of you guys that need to have your memory be caught up to speed and everything, remember Brian Christopher, he was incarcerated after a DUI arrest. He was not provided with treatment, however, by the sheriff's office for drug and alcohol issues during his incarceration. And the lawsuit that is being brought forward by Jerry Lawler and his representation, they are alleging that this sheriff county out there in Tennessee, that basically they failed to provide Brian Christopher with the appropriate care he needed after he was assaulted by another inmate on the day that Brian committed suicide. Yeah, kind of crazy, kind of fucking crazy. Also, Lawler's lawyers, they have already begun taking depositions from several defendants and witnesses over the past few months. This includes the sheriff, one John Doolin, who Lawler claims in the suit had promised him that Brian would be given help for his addiction issues. Lawler is seeking $3 million in damages, additional compensatory damages if the court sees fit, and a court order requiring the county to make immediate changes to prevent additional suicides of prisoners in the Hardeman County custody. It's kind of hard to believe, but apparently from some of the people that have knowledge about this establishment where Brian Christopher had got arrested, where he was confined to, and ultimately where he took his life and everything, there were no cameras. There were no freaking cameras, and you just can't help but go, wait a minute, think 2018 now. How tech savvy and just tech, all right? Wait a minute, there's no surveillance? You've got this guy that, DUI and all this other stuff, and so technically this guy is a celebrity, if you will, technically, or at least through who his parents are, or his dad is, and we don't have enough common sense to make sure that as far as surveillance goes, that... So, yeah, I remember Lawler had talked about this. I don't even know if he still has a podcast, but I remember there was the Dinner with the King podcast or something along those lines. And I remember Jerry Lawler was talking about this case, what all had happened, the circumstances surrounding his son's passing. And I thought this, honestly, no bull, I thought this been got resolved. To hear that it's just been dragging out all this time later, I'll continue to keep you guys updated on this, but I definitely had wanted to share that news with you guys because, when I first heard about this, first thing I went through my mind, I thought this was already taken care of. I thought this was settled, but apparently we are a long ways from it being settled. Odyssey Jones got an update for you guys in regards to Odyssey Jones. He had surgery, successful surgery, and he had surgery to repair a ruptured patella tendon. As a result of that, he is going to be out at least until fall of this year. You heard me right. At least until fall of this year, Odyssey Jones will be out. Until then, they made the announcement on this week's NXT 2.0. Yeah, it's like that, yo. Whatever their new little catchphrase is. They made the announcement about his surgery. So that's the time frame. Rewinding it back, remember he was injured in a match that was on 205 from earlier this month, actually, when he had got attacked by Harlan on last week's NXT, and that pretty much was the respected storyline. Remember last week on NXT, we saw Odyssey Jones on crutches and all that, and Harlan was just looking at him, and we had the Gacy guy that pretty much said we don't allow room for negativity. Remember that segment? Next thing we know, we see a couple of segments later, Odyssey Jones is on the ground and everything. So they did that to give the young brother the exit that he needed to go get the repair and everything. And once he gets his repair, boom, you got your instant Acme feud when Odyssey Jones comes back. So that's what's going on with Odyssey Jones right now. So definitely speedy recovery to that brother. Definitely a speedy recovery to that brother. Other than that, relatively quiet as far as wrestling related news goes. Non-wrestling related news, look, if I were to go into it, we would go past the hour 45 mark for sure, but I'll say this, just at least so I can touch the subject. Sean Payton, not necessarily retiring, but stepping away from football. I did not see that coming. But now we've got Cowboy fans that are, maybe it'll happen because, now we're really learning more details on how, as early as 2018 or maybe 2019, Cowboys were actually pretty close to getting Sean Payton as the coach. But I believe the general manager decided at the last minute, for whatever respective reason, the Saints general manager got cold feet and backed out. So now it seems to be Cowboys, we got a chance. So I'm still processing the news. Seriously, I'm still processing the news about Sean Payton, but I definitely feel he will be back. I just think right now, look, it was refreshing to hear him say he's not burned out. He's not burned out by football, not by a long stretch. It's just he wants to back away for a little bit while he's still young, catch up with his friends, his family, do a little bit of traveling, take care of his health and fitness and all that. And so I take him at face value. I truly believe it's not a case where he's burned out by any stretch. I truly believe he just wants to take a break, and he will be back. I think it's just a matter of when. When will he be back? I wouldn't be surprised if this little extended vacation that he's going on right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it lasted until, honestly, contrary to how some people may feel, I don't see him coming back at all for the 2022-23 season. I don't care what anybody says. The 2023 to 24 season, I could definitely see that. But at the latest, the 2024 to 2025 season, I could definitely see him coming back for sure. The stuff with Tom Brady, let me say this real quick on Brady, because now we got a new update where, it kind of seems as though Brady is now kind of throwing some breadcrumbs out there. You go on his website and he's continuing to talk in past tense and all of that. Look, man, I'm good. Do what you need to do. Seriously, do what you need to do. What you said on your press conference after the loss, great. What you said on your podcast the next day with Jim Gray, okay, great. Take the time that you need. Do what you got to do. Get your house in order. Talk to your family. Do some soul searching. Travel. Enjoy your time with your family. Go do sightseeing. Go be a dad. Go be a husband. Go do whatever you got to do. Think about whatever you need to think about in regards to football at a much later date, right? But the stuff with the website that went down on Wednesday or what was it, Tuesday or whatever, it's like, just stop with the breadcrumbs. Just chill. Go do what you got to do, right? Go do what you got to do, and we'll be all right. I think he meant well. I don't think he's trying to milk it for all it's worth. I really don't think. I truly believe he was really being sentimental and he was being outspoken. I truly believe he was being candid and just really reflecting on his time this past season and everything. But hopefully we won't get anything else and it can just, but I still stand behind what I had said on Monday night when we were talking in depth about Brady and everything. I still feel that Brady, I don't know, if he's not done now, it was refreshing to hear him say on the podcast that the last thing he wants to do is come back for one more season and the announcement is made, this is it. This is going to be his last hoorah. Because remember, I had said something along those lines, why not come back for one more season and make the announcement? He doesn't want to do that because for him, there would just be too many distractions. He wants to go in there at 110%, focusing on just the preparation, winning, and all of that. He doesn't want to be under that type of scrutiny. He actually would prefer it to just be a spontaneous thing where he's just, okay, I'm good. Kind of to the point of where he is right now in his career. So I thought that was a very interesting, it's definitely worth checking out. Definitely worth checking out. I've never heard him be so reflective and be in past tense as he was on the podcast there for this past week. So check that out when you guys get a chance. All right. Let's get into some Royal Rumble picks, and then we are pretty much out of here. I'll remind you guys about some programming notes, too. So stick around for that. All right, so WWE Royal Rumble 2022. It's going to be going down this Saturday, January 29th at the Dome in St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri. So happy we're getting a pay-per-view at 8 p.m. Eastern because by the time I get off from work, let me actually look at the calendar here. By the time I get off from work, I'll have just about an hour to kill. So that gives me enough time to quickly recharge, all that. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a Royal Rumble watch along just yet. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. I'm thinking about it though. All right, so what we got going on here? Oh, I need a proper Royal Rumble card too. Bear with me a second here. All right, so this is how we're gonna do it. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm good, guys. I was about to say, but I'm actually good. All right, so we've got. Let's deal with the matches here. Edge and Beth Phoenix taking on Miz and Maurice, mixed tag team match. I'm actually looking forward to this because for what it was worth, and when she was a consistent wrestler, Maurice was pretty good. Maurice was actually pretty good. She wasn't no Michelle McCool, but she was fairly decent. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she does in there with Beth Phoenix. We've already seen Edge and Miz. We've already seen what they can do. So really the new element that's in this wrinkle is the girls. I mean, that's what it's really all about here. So I'm very excited to see how not only will Beth and Maurice interact with one another, but I'm also curious to see how the women will be interacting with each other's man. So Beth to Miz, Maurice to Edge. I can't wait to see how all of that is going to play about. You would like to believe that past history has shown us that when it comes to these mixed intergender matches here, and especially when Miz and Maurice are involved, their batting average ain't that good. So you would like to believe that the streak is going to continue, yeah? I'm going to go with the big feel, good feel moment here. I'm going to go with Edge and Beth Phoenix for the W. I definitely see shenanigans. I see a couple of close near-fall spots going on and everything, but Edge and Beth Phoenix for the retain I'm going with here. Beth Phoenix looks like she is defending the Raw Women's Championship against Doudrop. Any other time I would love, I just don't see it happening. I do not see Becky Lynch by any stretch dropping this championship. Not to no Doudrop. I don't see it happening. Don't get me wrong. I think what they've been doing with Doudrop thus far has been pretty good. And I love the storyline that they've been telling with her where Doudrop, oh man, this girl, Bianca Belair, keeps getting opportunities. And this girl over here keeps getting opportunities. When are we going to do somebody fresh? When's somebody fresh going to come in here and get a new opportunity? So I like how Doudrop has essentially in storyline asserted herself into the title picture and everything. What's really going to be the telling tale, though, is not so much about Becky Lynch retaining the championship, but where exactly is Doudrop going to go after this? Is she still going to kind of be somewhere, in that, just a match or two away from being in the title picture? Or is she going to maybe be, I won't say demoted, because that's kind of a poor choice of words to use, but is she maybe going to be relocated to maybe the tag division? The women could definitely use some help in regards to the tag division. So, could they maybe go in that direction, right? So it's a lot to think about. Where is Shayna Baszler? What the hell's been going on with Shayna? Unless she's injured or whatever, that's definitely somebody I would love to see return at the Royal Rumble. Going down the pipeline, I'm trying to think too what brand Shayna Baszler is on now. If I remember correctly, I thought that Shayna Baszler was part of the Blue brand, but let's just say hypothetically speaking, she is. I mean, you could always work something out where a deal was made to pretty much send her to Raw. I personally wouldn't mind it if we had saw Doudrop and Shayna Baszler as a tag team. I think they would actually do pretty damn well together as a tag team. Let me know what you guys think. Brock Lesnar defending the WWE Championship against Bobby who? Bobby Lashley. Bobby! Remember what I talked about on Monday's show about how Brock Lesnar is pretty much looking past Bobby Lashley and everything. And I brought up the question, could that come to bite him in the ass? I feel as though yes it could, and yes it will. I do feel as though there's going to be something big that's going to happen here. Now, what I can't help but wonder is if there's going to be a Paul Heyman effect in this match. I can't help but wonder if Paul Heyman, remember a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown, Paul Heyman was professing his love to Roman Reigns and how he respected him and loved him, cherished his family and all of that. So obviously there is a rich history. There is a rich appreciation there. There is a connection there that goes with that family longer than his affiliation with Brock Lesnar. So I can't help but wonder if we're going to get any swerve here, if it's maybe going to come in the form of a Paul Heyman effect on this match, and essentially Heyman turns on Brock Lesnar, all in the name of helping out the tribal chief and trying to get back in good graces with the tribal chief. You just kind of have to put that in the back of your head here. Then, of course, it may not even go in that direction. There may not even be a Heyman effect at all. Then you could say, okay, well, is it maybe going to just come down to who's the better man here? Is it maybe going to come down to that? Or another way you can look at this, are some shenanigans going to play out between MVP and between Paul Heyman? Maybe they try to do a little distraction here and there, and right, a little backfire. We may be going to see a little something, right? Or are we really just going to let it be about these two guys? I'm seeing a new WWE champion crowned in Bobby Lashley. That's how I'm seeing it. I still feel that as far as the path to WrestleMania, we're doing a scenic route right now. You know, we're not directly going, we're taking the scenic route, but I still feel Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship is still at play. So, but I'm going on this one. I'm going with Bobby Lashley to become your new WWE champion. Women's Royal Rumble match and the men's Royal Rumble match. I know that we got a lot of, here's the names that we got so far. All right. So for your Raw and SmackDown side, for the men's Rumble entrance, we've got 22 out of 30 entrants that's been announced as of January 27th. All right. So we got Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford, Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, Austin Theory, Damian Priest, AJ Styles, Big E, Kevin Owens, Omos, Randy Orton, Riddle, Chad Gable, Otis, Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode. So, and all those names that I just mentioned, those are Raw guys. For your SmackDown guys, I'm seeing Sheamus, Happy Corbin, Madcap Moss, Sami Zayn, and Kofi Kingston. Johnny Knoxville, remember the Jackass guy, he was announced and confirmed earlier this month. So he's going to be in it. So we're talking 22 of the 30 entrants that's been announced for the men's Rumble entrance. So look, obviously we're going to have some surprises in there, right? Okay, so we're talking about 23. Hang on, guys. I need to get a better pen because I'm using a Sharpie here. Let's try this. All right, so we got spots 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're talking about 8 spots. Okay, off the break. Off the break, Jeff Jarrett. No particular, I'm just filling up a spot. Jeff Jarrett, you got to capitalize on that. You'd be a fool not to. I mean, he had got pretty good reviews and feedback for his appearance at GCW. The match, not so much, but just the way he looked at 54 years of age. You gotta, if you didn't check out GCW, the world on GCW, at least go out of your way to see the images of Jeff Jarrett's match against Effie. Best fucking shape of his life right now. I mean, he looks fucking great. I just thought it was so random how they called him up to do SmackDown and everything. But I would like to believe somebody definitely saw the footage of him in GCW and maybe got the word to Vince and them, yo, we need to capitalize. We should really do something with Jeff Jarrett. Look, he doesn't have to win the thing, but let's do something with him. Only thing that sucks, you know, he's going to be in that stupid ass cowboy, not cowboy, but that stupid ass, I'm at home making minute rice with my baby tonight. Well, that's stupid. He's going to be in that fucking gimmick. That's the only thing that sucks about that. But I can definitely see him filling up a spot. I can also see, what's my man's name? I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Carmelo Hayes from NXT. Carmelo Hayes from NXT. That guy is phenomenal. He is tearing it up. I continue to be impressed by. I don't like the thug gimmick that we're going in right now. I really don't think it's needed because Carmelo Hayes particularly was already oozing charisma and everything. He was doing just fine on his own. I think if we did less of that whole urban crap, the better, right? It kind of feels like we're trying to force a narrative that has been told repeatedly in the WWE, particularly when it comes to black wrestlers. And, you know, we don't need to always keep pushing that narrative, right? And I think you guys that's been watching the career of Carmelo Hayes down there in NXT thus far, I think most of you would definitely agree with that. But he continues to be a rising star without a shadow of doubt. He continues to be a rising star. So I definitely can see him making an appearance there as well. What about our man? Who's the guy that had faced AJ Styles recently? The guy that looks like a fake me out. The guy that looks like a fake me out Cody Rhodes. I actually got to look at the NXT roster now. I know the guy that I'm thinking about, but I can't see his. I see his face. I can't see his name. Come on, chat. Who am I talking about here? Let's see if you guys are going to be able to beat me to the punch before I pull up his name. Is it Braden Waller? Graydon Waller. I bet you it's Graydon Waller. For some reason, that's the name that I'm thinking. Every time I hear that fucking name, I just keep thinking Grayskull. Don't ask me why. I just keep thinking Grayskull. But I think that's the name. Braden. Let me look here. Where's the roster here? No, just give me the roster. Roster. Nobody is saying anything in the chat yet. I saw a little bit of chitter chatter that was going on, but nobody is mentioning the name of the wrestler I'm thinking about right now. That's okay. I'm gonna find it in a hot second here. You could do something with Von Wagner too. That actually would be relatively decent. I could see something. What about LA Knight? You know, LA Knight would actually be pretty good as well. That would be a really good test run. See what LA Knight is able to do. I definitely would put LA Knight in there. Grayson Waller. That's the guy's name. Grayson Waller. I could definitely see him doing something. I can definitely see the NXT heavyweight champion in Braun Breaker. You'd be a fool to not do something with Braun Breaker in there. I could definitely see our boy Corey Graves in there as well. So Corey Graves, I got him filling up a spot. Now, we already know that Mickie James, the Knockouts champion, she's going to be involved in the Women's Rumble and everything. But, you know, I can't help but wonder Well, if that invitation's been extended to me personally, this is my Royal Rumble, right? Considering what I just said about Mickie James. Yo, I would love for Moose to make an appearance. I think that would be pretty fucking badass. Moose. So that leaves us with one spot. Who would that one spot go to? We got one spot remaining. I remember toying with the idea of a AEW star. I don't know, guys. I told you guys, in a perfect world, I would either have Cody in there but I don't know. Stranger, crazier things have happened, but I don't know. If anything, I would be more inclined to say I like the idea of maybe having somebody from ROH. I still like that idea more so than an AEW talent. I like the idea of someone from ROH and or New Japan Pro Wrestling to actually make an appearance here in the Rumble. So with that last spot, I would either give a nod to Jonathan Gresham, and I'm actually putting that spot in there, or go with New Japan Pro Wrestling's Tanahashi. I mean, you really want to get fucking people talking, I think you got to go with one of those two names. That's what I would go with. This is my Rumble, right? If I were to, that's what I would go. That's the direction that I would go. And the Jonathan Gresham, I mean, that just makes all the fucking sense in the world, too, because, we've been seeing that ROH has been kind of on this nice little world tour, making nice little pit stops, various promotions and all that. So that'd be pretty badass. All right, let's look at the... Oh, now as far as who's... Oh, shit. You know what? I just said what I said about the... I just said what I said, too, by the way, about... What about Big E? Shit, we didn't even put Big E. Now that I'm looking at this, let me go back. Hold on. Was Big E even... Okay, so Big E was announced already. Okay, good. All right, just making sure. Okay, now, as far as who wins this, remember what I said earlier. Brock Lesnar freaking loses the championship. Well, does that mean that somehow Brock Lesnar, thanks to his advocate, is able to get himself a nice little spot in here in the Rumble? I'm trying to figure out how you could... But then I'm also thinking about the fact that we're going to have that pay-per-view that's going to go down, what is it, WWE Chamber, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be going down, Elimination Chamber is going to be going down in Saudi Arabia. You could try to do a number one contender that way, and you could easily... So as far as Brock Lesnar possibly going into this and winning the Rumble, I'm not seeing that now. I'm not seeing that. Whereas a few weeks before, I definitely was seeing it. But now I'm not going in that direction. So all things considered, as far as who I would have win the Royal Rumble, God, this is tricky, man. This is tricky. Man, this is really tricky because I'm in an interesting spot right here. I'm in a very interesting spot right here because, you know what? Yeah. I'm going to say Big E wins the Royal Rumble. I'm going to say Big E wins the Royal Rumble. And then ultimately, as far as who he's going to cash in on, I got him cashing in on Bobby Lashley. For God's sake, we got to just complete that damn, right? We just got to bring that back home. We just got to bring that back home, seriously. But Big E. You could do Big E and Roman Reigns too, but I think the bigger picture is going to be on Roman and Brock Lesnar. And like I said, as far as Brock getting an opportunity to get to WrestleMania, I think it's going to come for him at Elimination Chamber. I think that's exactly what's going to go down. All right, let's look at the women's side here. All right, women's side. It's actually kind of fun. Women's side. I'm glad we didn't rush this because I was really going to rush the hell out of this, but I'm glad we didn't rush the hell out of this. All right, women's side is as follows. We've got 21 of the 30 entrants that have been announced. Okay, so 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That leaves us with 9 spots, y'all. 9 spots. Okay, let's see what we got here. So here's the names that's been announced. Rhea Ripley, Nikki Ash, Dana Brooke, Carmella, Queen Zelina, Tamina, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan. These are your girls for Raw. Shotzi Blackheart, Natalya, Aaliyah, Naomi, Shayna Baszler, Charlotte Flair. These are your girls representing SmackDown. Meanwhile, Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, Lita, they all were announced on SmackDown in addition to Michelle McCool, Kelly Kelly, Summer Rae. Home in on Nikki Bella, Kelly Kelly, Nikki Bella. Oh wow, I can't believe that the Bellas are Hall of Famers still. I still can't believe that. But the Bellas, Lita, those are your Hall of Famers there. Okay, so yo, she's been teasing it, and I think the trigger is going to get pulled. Fucking, oh man. But that would be greatly overshadowed, would it not? That would be greatly overshadowed. I was getting ready to mention the name Paige. But do you maybe save Paige at this point for the night after WrestleMania? Would be my question. Do you maybe save her for that? You know, I know we got the reports out there about Ronda Rousey making her return. And I haven't given much thought to Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey gave birth when? Let's see. See here. Ronda Rousey. Let's just say Ronda Rousey gives birth. Let's see. September 27th of last year. So October, November, December, January. So the kid is 4 months old now. October, November, December, January. Wow, 4-month-old. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. When I say I don't know, 4 months old. And Becky Lynch gave birth when? Let's see here. Becky Lynch. Looks like Becky Lynch gave birth around... Wow. Am I reading this right? December... Looks like December of 2020. But look how long it was before Becky made her return. Ronda Rousey, I got to tell you guys, Ronda Rousey comes off as the type of person to me that wants to do everything in her power to be smart and safe. And, you know, I remember checking out some of her social media posts and everything in regards to the pandemic. And I don't know. I know some people are going, Ronda Rousey's going to return. I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. So I definitely would welcome it, but I'm just not seeing it. That would be a huge booster, though, for that women's division. It really, really would. I'm going to put Paige in here. I think the big name as far as a return, I think Paige. All right, so we got one name down. Who else? You know, another name that I don't see in here, and she's teased it quite a bit on her social media, and I actually think she's gonna make an appearance. Trish Stratus. I actually believe that Trish Stratus, a little bit of Stratusfaction. I mean, come on, it'd be pretty badass to see a nice little spot there where you got Lita and Trish one more time. I definitely feel we're gonna see a little something along those lines. So I'm definitely gonna put Trish Stratus in there. Do you maybe go with? Ooh, I could see that. I could see Victoria / Tara, Lisa Marie Varon. I could Lisa Marie Varon. I could actually see her doing something yet again here for WWE. I'll give her a nod. I could definitely see her, or Victoria. I could definitely see her making a appearance in here. Now let's look at some of the NXT girls. We definitely got to show some love to the NXT 2.0 women here. Let's see. I got to go back and look at my NXT roster. Here we go. All right, for my females, here we go. I would love to see, I'm looking at the list too. I would love to see Raquel Gonzalez. Let's get a better look at Raquel Gonzalez on a much bigger platform. Let's see how the buzz goes for her and everything. I could definitely see Raquel Gonzalez. I really don't think we need Mandy Rose. I really don't think we need Mandy Rose. That would be nice, but I really, for some reason, I can't quite see Mandy Rose. I don't know why. For the love of me, I don't know why. I could actually see Gigi Dolan. Believe it or not, I could actually see Gigi Dolan. I could even see Dakota Kai. If I were to put one more female in there from NXT, yeah, thinking as far as WWE, I wouldn't be surprised if WWE just had to go with Mandy Rose. They just had to insert her in there. So I'm actually going to go with Mandy Rose. I can see them putting her in there. All right, so that's Mandy Rose. And we already know about Mickie James being in there, so we got 4 spots that remain. Could WWE go a little bit more outside the box? Could we maybe see another Impact Knockout appear in here? Or are we maybe going in another direction here? Like, what are we doing? Be pretty badass. See, this is where I get a little bit fun and creative here. Again, I got to go with ROH. That would be kind of badass, personally, if they put in there Max the Impaler. Because that bitch is badass, let me tell you. I would personally put, just as a wild card, oh my God, I can't believe they actually did that. I could actually see Max the Impaler in that bad boy. I could also see... Boy, that would be interesting. But I don't know if it would actually happen. I was thinking about Allison Kay and Marty Bell. That would be pretty badass to actually see them in the Rumble. I'm not quite there though. Let me look here. Let me look at the rest of the names here, because I'm actually looking at the Ring of Honor roster right now. No, they had their chance. They blew that. Chelsea Green, I'm talking about. No. Oh, that, hell no. Maria Manic, yeah, you can forget about that. You can forget about that. What about Roxy? Just to follow up on the reports that were put out there, you know, I remember reading some along the lines of WWE is said to be pretty high on Roxy. I could see a little something. I could see that. I'll give a nod to Roxy. All right, so let's put Roxy in there. Okay, looking at the rest of the females here. You know, I fucking love Willow Nightingale. I don't know about you guys. I fucking love Willow Nightingale. I think if you can pull it off, I think you should put Willow in there as well. Yeah, I definitely think you should put Willow in there. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That leaves us with one name. And I'm still not quite there on Ronda Rousey. I don't know what it is, but I just don't feel... Look, I will eat my words. I'm just not convinced she's actually going to appear. Baby is now 4 months old. Yeah. I want to jump in. That's why I'm feeling kind of conflicted right here. I'm very, very conflicted. But I'm not quite there. I'm looking at the rest of the roster here. I'm not seeing anybody else. You know, oh my God, I even drew a blank on her. Let's go ahead and fill that spot because her name was never announced anyway. So let's go ahead and put her in there. Shayna Baszler. Freaking Shayna Baszler. Yeah, you definitely want to go ahead and put her in there. Now, what about Alexa Bliss? That's another name that apparently is nowhere here in regards to this Rumble list here. I'm looking at it. Let me just go back and check once again. Yeah, I'm not even seeing Alexa Bliss in here. So do you maybe insert Alexa Bliss in here? I kind of feel as though maybe you do, yeah? I kind of feel as though maybe you do need to put... All right, let's factor in Alexa Bliss. So we got to take out a name. So between Max the Impaler, Roxy, Willow, Victoria, I will take out Victoria. That's probably going to come back to kick me in the ass. I'm going to take out Victoria and I'm going to put Bliss in there. Now, as far as who's going to come out of that and win it all, and Liv Morgan is in there, right? Liv Morgan was announced. I like the idea of Liv Morgan winning. I think what they've been doing with her so far, and I remember telling you guys, they're doing a scenic route with her. They seem to be heavily invested in her. Kind of feel as though Liv Morgan, yeah, I'm gonna double down on that. Liv Morgan is the one that's gonna win the Royal Rumble. But as far as, oh my God, this person returning, I just feel if it's not Paige right here, then maybe they're gonna be saving it for the Raw after WrestleMania, right? One more time, though, looking at how I'm panning things out for the Royal Rumble this Saturday. I've got, oh man, we missed a match too. That's good. That's actually good. We've got the Universal Championship match. Roman Reigns defending his championship against Seth frickin' Rollins. Roman, hands down. Roman, hands down. Roman, hands down. I've come this far. I'm not betting against Roman. I've not betted against Roman, and I don't know how long since he's won that championship. I'm not betting against the man now. That should actually be a pretty damn good, entertaining match too, by the way. I'm actually, of all the matches, that's the one I'm really, really looking forward to the most, that I feel is going to be a sleeper hit per se. I think those guys are really going to tear the house down. So I'm really looking forward to that match the most. The Lesnar Lashley, that's got a lot of promise too, but of the matches, Roman Rollins. All right, so Roman retains the Universal Championship. Edge and Beth Phoenix over Miz and Maurice. Becky Lynch over Doudrop to retain her Raw Women's Championship. Bobby Lashley becomes your new WWE champion against Brock Lesnar. For your women's Royal Rumble match, some of those vacant spots, again, I said Paige, Trish Stratus, Alexa Bliss, Raquel Gonzalez, Mandy Rose, Max the Impaler, Roxy, Willow Nightingale, Shayna Baszler will fill those, the 21 out of 30 spots, I believe it is. Yes, they will fill those remaining spots. But ultimately, your winner will be Liv Morgan. As far as your men's side of the Royal Rumble, and look, just the fact that I'm not having Paige win this, don't look at him, well, this kind of no, just in breadcrumbs, just start it off as a really nice, slow little process that you could do with Paige. As far as breadcrumbs, you just never know when Paige is going to strike. You can essentially do it like that. You could do it like that if you really wanted to. Men's side of the Royal Rumble, remember we had 22 of the 30 entrants that was announced. So filling those remaining spots, I'm looking at my card, my predictions. Doesn't mean it's law, but just wishful thinking. ROH World Champion Jonathan Gresham, or you go with Tanahashi. It's always been a dream of mine to see Tanahashi do some stuff with the WWE. So, Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion Moose. These are long shots, but a man can dream, can't he? Corey Graves. I definitely think we're probably going to be doing something there with Corey Graves. Braun Breaker, NXT Champion. Grayson Waller. Jeff Jarrett. Carmelo Hayes. LA Knight. And then as far as who's going to win it all, I'm looking at Big E to win the men's side of the Royal Rumble. And that is how we are looking at it for Royal Rumble Saturday, y'all. So that's it in a nutshell. So sound off and let me know you guys' predictions, how you're seeing things play out. Have some fun, if you will, and let me know realistically who you think is possibly going to be filling some of those entrants, those vacant entrants. And that should be a nice little fun discussion when we get ready to do the post show for Royal Rumble. So I'm looking forward to that, but legit, I'm looking forward to the Royal Rumble. I think I'm going to do a watch along too. I do believe we're going to do a watch along, and immediately we'll come on. We'll do the post show. So that should be loads freaking fun for you guys. But just to make sure that you all are going to be around and you actually are going to be willing to do a watch along with me, maybe we'll do like a poll just to get a gauge, find out if you guys would prefer to have a watch along and a post show, or if you just kind of want to just the watch along only. We'll figure it out, but keep your eyes peeled for that. All right. And then, like I said earlier, keep your eyes also peeled for the survey there for the 2021 Wrestling Awards. That's going to be made available in a few hours, all right? And at this point, let's stick a fork in it, man. Let's say this show is done. So you made it up to this point. Thank you very kindly. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button, as it helps me out a great ton as far as having more people be able to discover the content with ease. So do that, and thanks. Really helps out, especially as far as reaching out to a more broader audience. And get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. For those of you that had tuned in live and you were with me for pretty much the entire show, thank you for staying up with me. Nice to know that I'm not the only night owl. For you lurkers out there that were tuning in live, just being quiet in the background, appreciate you guys as well. Shout out to those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand and definitely on the downloads. Thanks for representing as always. Until next go round, and in this case until Royal Rumble weekend, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe, and most importantly, be kind to one another, and I will see you guys for Royal Rumble Saturday. Take care, y'all. Peace.